Hey, how's it going? This is Sebastian from SocialAnxietySolutions.com. I'm a former social anxiety disorder sufferer and a social confidence coach. And I'm trying to keep myself a little bit awake and be a little bit pumped up about this video because I'm very tired. I'm operating on very little sleep. I got some drugs from the ear, throat, nose doctor, whatever, and kind of messed up my whole system. So I was wide awake at 5 a.m. in the morning trying to get to sleep until I popped a sleeping pill. So I fell asleep at about 6, and then at 9:30 construction started. Hey, good life. Anyway, it happens, and here I am shooting this video for you. And I had to pump myself up a bit because of the topic that I was going to talk about, or for shooting this video. But now that I'm talking, I'm actually genuinely excited to talk about what I'm going to talk about, because what I'm going to talk about is the ultimate outcome that you're after, and a bit of philosophy around that. And I think you might find this quite interesting. So, in my experience, you might start out with trying to get rid of your social anxiety. You might start trying to reduce it. And that's okay, and that's where you'll start, and you start reducing a bit, and then that gets better, and eventually you get better at that, and eventually your general anxiety starts to decrease. Certain situations you're not anxious anymore. You know, bit by bit you start working through those triggers, and then those triggers are not there anymore. You're in a particular social situation where you normally would get triggered, and now all of a sudden you're like, hey, I feel calm here, that's great. And more and more you get that, and eventually, with enough persistence, and this is a journey, and it's why I talked in last week's video. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. There's a link here somewhere. Presuming my lovely assistant Leah is adding that link in there. Hi, Leah. So then there's a whole journey involved in that. So it's going to take a bit of time. It doesn't just go like that. Though you can make progress just like that when you tap in the right way. And that's not the end of the journey, being free of anxiety. So what's the ultimate outcome that you're after? Well, in my book, the ultimate outcome that you're after is, drum roll, to feel safe being yourself. That's your ultimate goal. Because then you're not only not feeling anxious, you're also not restricted. You're also not stiff. You're also not rigid. You have the ability to be spontaneous. You have the you can say what comes to mind. You don't have to filter everything through like a million possible things. You'll still have your common sense. You know, you'll still have your social skills and your social intuitiveness and your social savviness with you, but you're not, you know, you can just blurt things out, which is so liberating and so much more fun, both for you and for other people as well. And when you're being yourself and you feel safe being you, you know, it's safe to be me, then, you know, so many other areas open up. Relationships, you know, it's very easy to connect with someone who feels safe being him or herself. There's not this pretense, this pretending, this, you know, having to prove yourself, being better than some and being less than others. Because, you know, you're not playing a comparison game because you've done acceptance work and you're okay with you and you appreciate yourself as the unique person that you are. So you're not in competition with other people. So, you know, it's safe to be me. That's the ultimate goal. And it's a beautiful place to get to, and it's a beautiful journey to get to that place. I say it's a beautiful journey, but it's not always easy, and sometimes it's really tough, and sometimes it's really challenging. And my coach once told me, when I was complaining to her about the misery that I was in, she said, well, you'll always have problems. So, you know, get used to it. I'm 70. She was 70 at the time. She's, you know, somewhere in her 70s. I don't know her actual age. She's like, I'm 70 or close to 70, and I still have problems in my life. That's a normal thing in life. You'll continuously have them. I'm like, well, I'd like to have some better quality problems, you know? So yesterday I was talking to her. I was talking how I feel overwhelmed. I have so many tasks, and I'm like, it's first world problems that I'm having, and it's problems that I'm having, but it's still problems. But at the end of the call, she said, well, congratulations with your high quality problems. You know, these are much nicer problems to have. However, at the time when I was so anxious and I had, really big problems, I couldn't see the end of them. I couldn't see how I could get out of that hellhole where I was in, where I was feeling so lonely, where I couldn't connect with people, where I felt like people didn't like me. All of these problems, I couldn't see how I would get out of it. And something that she told me at the time was really helpful, which I've always remembered, and I now tell my clients if they're having a really tough time, and that is, life's biggest challenges hold life's biggest rewards. So think about that. The bigger your challenge, the bigger the gift within that. Social anxiety is a huge challenge, but it is an invitation to go inside and to look at what's going on there. Why is my brain perceiving threats? Oh, I'm actually not okay with all of myself. Oh, I'm trying to seek approval. Oh, disapproval from others is not okay with me. Oh, I have deep insecurity that is unresolved. Oh, on the deepest level of myself, I don't feel that I'm good enough. All of these things is what the anxiety is pointing towards. And by then doing the work to start resolving that, releasing that, that's actually a really beautiful journey. And that doesn't just get rid of your social anxiety, it actually opens up so much more. And you just become a, much more rich, deep, interesting character. You get to learn a lot about yourself. You get to learn a lot about your psychology, how things work, your emotional system, your thinking. It's challenging to be more at the beginning of the stage, but it gets better when you actually start doing the work. Question is, are you doing the work? Are you just watching these videos? Are you just reading up on things? Are you just filling up your cognitive, your conscious mind with cognitive information and have these little videos make you feel a little bit better? Or actually in there, in the trenches, as they say, doing the work, doing the tapping? Because that's the thing that's going to make a difference. Now, certain mindsets are helpful and necessary and required, but this is mostly an emotional journey. You'll hear me talk about that more. I think this is, if I had to guess, it's about 20% cognitive. And for the most part, the rest, it's an emotional journey. And so a very effective technique to address these emotions is the tapping. Now, my coach was also on my case because I sent out an email and the headline was, tapping doesn't work if you don't do it in the right way. And she said, well, people could interpret that to mean that tapping doesn't work if you don't do it in the right way. Yes, that's correct. But what she was implying was like, well, I say to my clients, it's a very forgiving technique. And so if you say to them, it only works if you try it, if you do it in the right way, they might be held back from giving it a try. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I don't want that to happen. What I meant was, in order to overcome your social anxiety completely, you need to do the tapping in the right way. Tap on the right targets, overcome your resistance, achieve acceptance, get rid of what's in the way of accepting yourself, healing your trauma, shifting your belief system, etc. And that requires a study in order to understand that. That said, that doesn't mean that you can't already start using the tapping and just seeing what you can do and seeing where you can get relief. Every little bit of relief that you get gets you closer to feeling safe to be yourself. Something I taught my mom, as a simple technique, complain to your friend technique. So if you're having a really tough time, mom or you, what you can do is you just sit down with yourself and just start tapping from point to point. You know, you don't have to do a setup, even though you don't have to do standard original EFT. You can just tap from point to point. And while you're tapping from point to point, you just let it all go. Oh my God, you know, I'm so tired of having this problem. You know, it's draining me. Every time I go out, I can't focus on what people are saying. They can see me anxious. It's so horrible. It's so frustrating. I can't live my potential. They're seeing me anxious. I feel so ashamed about it. Why do I have this problem? I'm so sick and tired of it. And you're pretending like, you could even close your eyes and you imagine that you have a friend sitting in front of you, and you just blurt it all out. You just complain and complain and complain and complain. And while you're doing the tapping, you know, that complaining has emotions attached to those thoughts that you're having. And while you're simultaneously tapping and doing the complaining, that's gonna calm things down. Now, it might not make you feel amazing, but it's gonna give you some relief. Sometimes a little bit, sometimes profoundly. You know, as my mentor says, which is different from my coach, tapping is a very effective technique to neutralize excessive negative emotions. Sometimes quickly and other times less quickly. Well, if you're one of these people that it takes a little bit longer, okay, that's how it was for me, you know? And that forced me to go deeper, and that forced me to, you know, it took longer to get to where I wanted to be, but it also brought up a lot of other benefits. I learned a lot more. I studied a lot more. I got to understand myself a lot more. Thanks to that, I can now share it with others a lot more. I can help my clients in a much better way. So there's always like hidden benefits in challenges that you're having. So, you know, there you go. It's a journey. It's mostly an emotional journey. And at the end of the journey, the goal at the end of the rainbow is it's safe to be me. That's your goal, you know? And my invitation is commit to that. Nothing less than that. You deserve it. You're worth it. It's safe to be you. That's your outcome. That's your goal. Okay? So, you know, sorry for my philosophical rant there, but, you know, this is what is top of mind for me right now. And hope it's been helpful. I will connect with you next week again. And keep in mind that in August 2020, there will be a new social confidence community that I am super excited about because I'm doing all the pre-work for it right now. It's going to be really, really knock your socks off. Amazing. Be guided, supported with a whole bunch of other people, all in the same boat, going towards that same outcome. It's safe to be me. And, you know, I'll share my everything within that community, the specific how-tos, live webinars, everything. So that's what's coming up. It's still 6 months, but, you know, just wanted to let you know. All right, so this is Sebastian, Social Anxiety Solutions. I will connect with you soon. Bye for now.